Hello, so today we're going to be going over the deck tech for Buggy. He is a 5 life 5k leader blue from OP09. He has the 4 Emperors and the Cross Guild type. He has an ability to activate main. You may rest 5 Dawn and discard 1 card from your hand. Play up to 1 character with the Cross Guild type from your hand. So Buggy likes to cheat out characters ahead of schedule with like a Swarm the Field type effect. And then he has a top end of his namesake card, Buggy himself. So up first we have Mr. One Does Bones from EVO1. He has Baroque Works, and he's a 5-drop 6k character with 1,000 counter. So his first ability, if your leader type includes Baroque Works, this character gains 1,000 power for every 2 events in your trash. That effect does not happen in this deck because our leader is not, he's the 4 Emperors and Cross Guild. But he's in there because he's a 5-drop that we can cheat out with another card and a non-play draw 2 cards, then trash 1 from your hand. We're running 2 Kaya. It's just a 1-drop 2k counter. On play, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. Most times this is going to be a 2k counter in hand. We have Charlotte Pudding from OP06, 4-drop 4k with 1,000 counter. On play, your opponent returns all their hand cards to their deck and shuffles their deck. Then your opponent draws 5 cards. This character can be useful in certain matchups. Worst case, she's a 1k. Now, against like yellow decks where they like to hold a lot of cards in hand, Shanks does as well. When they're thinking they're going to be safe for counter, you can drop her out and shuffle their hand back in. So, good card, good utility. At worst case, she's a 1k counter. So, this is Margaret, Amazon Lily, 3-drop 2k, has blocker, and on play, draw a card. Now, she doesn't have any counter, so she's just meant to play out as a blocker with the on play, draw a card. If you're going against Blackbeard, you probably won't get the on play, but still a blocker nonetheless. We're running 2 Jozu from OP08, 6-drop, 7k power, 1000 counter. On play, you may return one of your characters other than this card to your hand. To return up to 1 cost 6 or lower characters to the original owner's hand. This card is a 6/7 body. You got to play him out. You can't cheat him out because he doesn't have the right attributes. Like he's Whitebeard Pirates. A lot of times you'll find yourself with him in hand as just a 1k, which is fine. But if you can deploy him out, he's a 6/7 body. So up next we have Kabaji from OP09. He has the Cross Guild type. He's a 5-drop 5k with a 2k counter. And if you have a character Buggy or Moji in play, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. Now it has to be the character Buggy, not the leader. Most of the time I find him just as a 2k, but I mean he does work with the next card. Worst case scenario, he's a 5 for 5. So this right here is probably one of the best cards in the deck. It's our 7-drop 7k Crocodile. He has Cross Guild and former Baroque Works. He is a 1000 counter with on play. You play up to 1 character card with a Cross Guild type or with a type including Baroque Works at a cost of 5 or less from your hand. Now, the way that the text is on the card, the Baroque Works will play this guy and this guy because it says former Baroque Works, but it also counts for the Cross Guild. So he is probably the best card in the deck as far as putting him out on turn 5. And then you could play any of your 5 or less characters, like Kabaji, worst case, Mr. 1 from EBO1, Mr. 1 here from OP09, Moji. So he just kind of throws big bodies out for you. Really good card. Up next, we have Draco Mihawk from OP09 with the Cross Guild tag. 6-drop, 7k, has blocker, and on play you draw 2 cards, then trash 1 card from your hand. He doesn't have a counter. I like to deploy him, but you gotta bring him out for 6, or you gotta use Buggy's effect to cheat him out. You can't cheat him out with Crocodile because he only works for 5 or less. And with no counter, a lot of times I'll end up trashing a couple of these throughout the matches to like Buggy's effect or the stage, for instance, or Mr. One. So it's He's a good card. He has blocker. A lot of people don't recognize him as a blocker, so sometimes uh, they don't see it because he doesn't. The art makes him definitely not look like a blocker, but he is. So this is your top end here. This is the 10 drop 12k buggy. Cross guild, 4 emperors. He has an ability on play. Return up to one of your opponent's characters to the bottom of the deck. Then if you do not control 5 characters with a cost of 5 or more, you have to return this character to the bottom of the deck. So they were real flavorful with this character where Buggy is basically a coward unless he's surrounded with like stronger, characters on the field. I love this card in the Blackbeard matchup because when they say my on play abilities can't be used, I automatically rest the 5 Dawn, trash the card, and play a 12 drop or a 10 drop 12k with no drawback. So, great card. It has no counter, so it's another pitchable card. Worst case scenario if we need to. Then we have up next we have Moji Cross Guild from OP09. He's a 5 drop 5k with a 2k counter. And on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Richie, and put it in your hand. Then place the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then you play up to 1 Richie from your hand. Now, this list does not run any Richie, so 9 out of 10 times he's just a 2k counter. But he is a 5k power, so if you need him, he's there. Mr. Daz Bone, just a vanilla from OP09 with the cross skill form of Baroque Works. He's a 7,000 power character, 5 drop with 1k counter. Not really much to say about him, but he works with the crocodile. You can cheat him out, um, or you just play him out for 5 with no drawback. So just a 5/7 vanilla. This is the searcher of the deck, Mr. 3 from OP09. He has the cross guild form of Baroque Works. He's a 1 drop, 2,000 power character with a 1,000 counter. Where on play, you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with the cross guild type or with the type including Baroque Works, other than Mr. 3, and put it into your hand. Then put the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. He's a searcher. Really not much to say about him. He's 1k counter, worst case scenario. He's usually my turn 1 play if he's in my opener. And if I don't have a play for turn 2, I'll just throw 3 Dawn on him and swing 5 with him, 5 with the leader. So with this deck, pitching a lot of cards due to the Buggy effect and the Mihawk and the Mr. 1, we do run a playset of Sanji's Pilaf. It's just main, draw 2 cards, and it has a trigger effect to activate this main effect. He's a 3 drop. It's an event. Just helps replenish the hand or another card to pitch if you don't need to. So here we have Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, 7 drop with a Navy type, so it's not searchable off Mr. 3. But it has main, place up to 2 cost 6 or less characters in any order on the bottom of their owner's deck. And it has trigger where you can place up to 1 cost 5 or less on the bottom of its owner's deck. This card can get stuff out of the way that you're having a hard time dealing with. It hits a lot of cards in the meta. So, not much to say about this one. I mean, it's a staple for blue. And our last card in the deck, we have the stage for the cross guild. It's Karibari Island, I guess. Activate main, you send 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck and rest the stage. And then if your leader has cross guild, you draw 2 cards. So with all these like non-counter cards in hand, you can rest it, tuck these 2 and draw hopefully more counter if need be. Trying to always keep a crocodile ready to go. So I did play like 4 or 5 recorded matches. I played a lot more. Buggy, he needs a lot of support. I'll tell you that. I enjoy playing the deck. I enjoy the style of like the swarm and the cheating out. It's a fun deck. It is fun. It's not gonna win you a treasure cup or anything crazy. You might be able to cheese a couple wins at your local with it, but we're gonna be getting eventually at some point. Sorry, I didn't have this loaded up ahead of time. Let me see if I can load these up real quick. Now, there's gonna be some cards, some promos, which you probably all have seen or heard by now, that are gonna help this deck. So there is so this one here, which is a promo, the Mihawk 4 drop 5k 1,000 counter. You can rest this character you can may return this character to your hand if you have 3 or more cross guild type characters in play. You get to play a 5 drop cross guild from your hand. So another way to like cheese cards in. And here we have the Crocodile. He's a 5/7 no counter. During your turn and on play, if your leader type includes Cross Guild or Baroque Works, you place one of your opponent's power 2,000 or lower characters on the bottom of their owner deck. Essentially, you can tuck like a blocker, no counter. And then this right here is the big one. It's a 7 drop, 8,000 power, no counter, Buggy. And he has this character cannot attack. And if your leader is Buggy, all cost 3 and 4 characters cannot attack. And then on play, you can play up to one cost 6 or lower cross guild type character from your hand. So we do have some promos coming at some point, hopefully, that may make Buggy more viable. Like I said, some of the other cards that were in this archetype, we have Elvita, which we didn't run in this list. She's a 5/6 with 1,000 counter, and then on KO, if your leader's cross guild, you can play one cost for 5 or lower character other than Elvita. Another card we didn't use was the Richie. He's just a 2/2 blocker. There may be arguments for Richie to come in and overtop the Marguerite, but the on play draw card helps replenish the hand, so it's kind of your choice if you want to run Richie to synergize better with the Moji or keep the Marguerite. Like I said, this archetype is pretty tight, so there's not a lot of room for like engineering or spiciness. So here's the event, search event. So 1 drop, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal and add up to your hand up to 1 card type, including cross guild, and then return the rest to the bottom of the deck in any order. And then the trigger is just activate its main effect. Majority of the deck is cross guild, but there's a lot of targets we won't be hitting with that event here. So this is why I didn't opt to run this. I mean, it does add a little bit of consistency, but there's a lot of cards that are tech choices in here. Like all these, it would just none of these would be useful. These won't. These won't. So there's just a lot of cards that it won't hit, which is why I opted just to run the Mister 3. But overall, this deck was fun. I did get some wins, but like I lost a lot more than I won with it. But I'll be uploading my winning videos with this just to kind of show you guys how the deck can function. But it's definitely I want to be upfront. This deck is it's fun. We'll leave it at that. But other than that, guys, thank you. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more One Piece content.